Yeah, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, God.
No spin, no bias, no censorship. I'm Dan Wootton. This is Outspoken episode number 253 and breaking right now. The GB News civil war over Tommy Robinson has exploded overnight with a humiliating public apology from the broadcaster after this false claim was made on air.
Tommy Robinson is objectively a racist man that hates Muslims.
What did he say? What did he say that's racist?
Oh, heinous things about all brown people. He calls all brown people perverts.
But now Britain's political prisoner has had enough. He has directly challenged both GB News and its star presenter, the Reform UK leader, Nigel Farage.
Go to a lawyer and sue him. I could easily do that, because it's a total lie. Everything he said's a total lie. I just think he should apologise. I think he should have apologised at the time. Don't have to apologise to me. Apologise to my kids and my wife because you lied.
Oh, and Piers Morgan isn't safe either.
Islam, the Quran, terrorism, jihad. We need to talk about this, not talk about me and you. You know what I mean? But now, so it's his own channel. I'm happy to have the clash, Piers. Yeah, it's not clash you're going to win. It's just not clash he's going to win.
I'll reveal Tommy Robinson's direct challenge to Piers Morgan, Nigel Farage and GB News in my digest next. Then my superstar panel weigh-in. And they're back. Social commentator Leilani Dowding and Reform UK supporter and YouTube sensation June Slater. Also coming up on the show today. Hope Not Hate and Owen Jones exposed as Ben Habib and the Great British PAC finally stand up to that government-funded charity that helped cover up the Pakistani Muslim rape gang scandal. The BBC plunged into crisis today over bullying and sex claims made against breakfast presenter Naga Munchetty. Is she getting special treatment because she's a woman? We're going to reveal the shocking details. Then, in the uncancelled after show on Substack, this is worrying. Growing fears for Catherine, the Princess of Wales, after Kensington Palace said to be plunged into chaos and panic over her last-minute decision to pull out of Royal Ascot. So what's really going on? Our royal mastermind, Angela Levin, here with the inside story. You can sign up to watch at www.outspoken.live. We're also going to be revealing the worst Britain in the world this week. We've taken your Union Jackasses from Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. They are going head to head right now in my community post section on YouTube. You can go and vote. We've already had tens of thousands. I think about 30,000 last I looked. Tuesday, it was Jess Phillips. Wednesday, it was Sheila Fogarty. Thursday, it was Lorraine Kelly. So get voting. I'll read out some of the reasons for your choices at the end of the show too. But before we start today, I have to say, you guys are just amazing. Just amazing. Near the end of last night's show, I asked you to get us to 400,000 subscribers. And it happened. It happened at 12:45 p.m. today. We got there. This was sort of what was going on inside my head with the celebration scenes. It really is incredible. 400,000 of you who have supported me really from the start. The Outspoken Live Daily Show has been going for less than 1 year, and I'm completely blown away. I'm touched. I was down and out. I'd be written off. I'd even written myself off, to be honest, but you've got me back. And the most important thing is that this independent media revolution is what will save our United Kingdom. So please, if you are watching this and you haven't subscribed, please just click that subscribe button. It is completely free. Turn on the notification bell too, and then you will get alerted every time there is a new Outspoken video up. But now, let's go. The civil war behind the scenes at GB News over Tommy Robinson has exploded into the public view today after a bombshell forced apology from one of the broadcaster's resident lefties after he was allowed to spread a series of false smears on a show hosted by Patrick Christys. Now, you'll remember Tommy quickly branded the guy a lying twerp, and now he has had to make a grovelling, full-throttled and actually quite hilarious apology. So let's look at what Andy 12 said. So first he tweeted or posted on X, following a comment made during a recent broadcast, I am issuing the statement below to formally apologise and correct the record in relation to Tommy Robinson. He copied him in. Then here's the more detailed statement. During a recent television appearance on GB News' Patrick Christys' Late Edition, I made a comment that I now understand was inaccurate and misleading about Tommy Robinson. I recognise that this statement was not a fair or accurate representation of Mr. Robinson's publicly stated views. I regret the error and apologise unreservedly for the mischaracterisation. Now, always the gent, Tommy responded, apology accepted, Andy. I don't blame people for the warped view they have about who I am. I blame over a decade of media lies. He went on, I actually accept this man's apology, as this is the view that legacy media and politicians have presented about me for decades, painting a false picture of me to the world. At the beginning of my activism, they brought me onto their platforms thinking I was an idiot and couldn't back up my opinions. And since I demolished them every time, they had me removed from everywhere. Then, Tommy used the moment to publicly challenge Nigel Farage, star presenter at GB News, where the civil war has been raging, as I reported earlier in the week, to do the right thing and correct his disgusting lies about Tommy while he was locked in solitary at HMP Woodhill. He wrote, while in prison on solitary, Nigel Farage lied on LBC, claiming I had a conviction for violence on women. Disgusting. Andy 12's apologised today for lies about me on GB News. Are you man enough to correct your lie and apologise? #truth matters. So before we get into much more of what Tommy Robinson has said about Nigel Farage, I want to show you what Andy 12's was allowed to say on air by GB News.
Running away and denying the recommendations. I think Leo actually raised a really good point that, as a man of the left, it is quite easy to get insular. And if you see people like, your man Tommy Robinson talking about it, he was one of the big guys shouting about it. But then he'd also put something heinous on the back end of it, so it's quite easy to dismiss. So I think a lot of people on the left did just see nutters like Tommy talking about it.
Heinous on it, because I've not really seen anything that he said that was particularly.
He wants to ban Islam, which is
like I said, I haven't seen anything I disagree with.
No, come on. Tommy Robinson is objectively a racist man that hates Muslims.
What did he say? What did he say that's racist?
Oh, heinous things about all brown people. He calls all brown people perverts.
Man, how come he's got so many brown mates?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. What?
I mean, he works alongside brown people. I don't understand. I know there's a lot of there's certainly a lot of.
He doxed a 14-year-old brown lad, accused him of heinous things that he hadn't done. That lad had to go into witness protection. Like, he's done heinous things. He used to beat up police officers. He's done immigration fraud. You know, he nicked a load of money off his fundraising supporters. He's a bad guy.
I think we're just straying into quite dicey legal territory here when it comes to Tommy.
Well, about time, Patrick Christie's, because there are about 5 or 6 completely false claims that were made before you stepped in. Congratulations, though, to Leo Kearse for at least being prepared to have the debate. But I have to say, Patrick Christie's, along with Camilla Tominey, is responsible for a series of false claims made by GB News presenters about Tommy Robinson.
Tommy Robinson in this loose role as advisor on grooming gangs. A, what advice do you need on grooming gangs? B, do you want that advice coming from a man like Tommy Robinson? It's not a good look for the party whatsoever. Frankly, it's not a good look for society, and I do really think this just demonstrates, actually, that there is an undercurrent, not this subtle level of racism that's been levelled at UKIP in the past. I think you could argue that this is now much more overt.
Elon Musk doesn't quite seem to understand who Tommy Robinson is and what he represents, which is a misunderstanding that is sometimes seen across the pond, you know, Americans and Canadians thinking that Tommy Robinson is some kind of, you know, misunderstood folklore figure, when in fact he's a convicted criminal and white supremacist who hasn't really done much. In fact, he's currently serving a sentence for contempt of court.
White supremacist, disgusting from Camilla Tominey. But now there is a huge row within GB News as presenters including Michelle Dewberry and Ben Leo go on the record to say that Tommy Robinson deserves a public apology over the rape gang scandal, while management and Nigel Farage remain vociferously opposed to uncancelling the UK's political prisoner, fearful of the impact on advertisers and Reform UK, respectively. But Tommy isn't backing down, making this open call to the station. Would be helpful if GB News just allowed me to defend myself against the continued lies told about me on many of their programmes, saying that I am grateful to some of the show's hosts who challenge their lies. And his friend and podcaster Liam Tufts backed him up, adding, they'll have to buckle to their play it safe broadcast soon, as too many people want to see you on there. Time to grab nuts, GB News, and go where others fear to tread. You're the people's channel, remember. Indeed, in the bombshell new episode of Liam's excellent podcast, The Dozen, Tommy has spoken publicly and in detail for the first time of the damage caused to him psychologically and reputationally by Nigel Farage, who used that incredible Elon Musk moment back in January, which brought his case to the world's attention, to try and destroy him.
It's going to know, yeah? The most powerful government in the world is going to know what's going on. And then they rolled out Nigel Farage. And then I felt sick as I listened to the comments Farage was making. He's going to get to America and he's going to fill them in on about me. And for some reason, look, I don't want to waste my time getting into loggerheads with Nigel Farage. I've tried, as you saw at the United Kingdom rally, to make a point to Nigel saying, we're not your enemy. In fact, these are your supporters for reform. Yeah? I don't know why he keeps attacking us. It's like each time, if they could use anyone who might have a bit of a base within the Patriots to discredit me, it would have been Nigel Farage. They rolled him out massively at that time. And he come out, and I don't know whether maybe he's bought the bullshit. Maybe he believes the media. Maybe he does. Maybe he believes all those things. But so then I felt sick. So I went from high up here to then feeling sick, thinking now he's going to ruin it and he's going to get to America for the inauguration and he's going to discredit me and attack me. And then I heard, then Elon Musk put out the statement about Farage. And remember, do you know what's frustrating for me is, I don't want any of this. I don't want there to be a division with reform. I don't want that. I want reform to be the voice for the people. I want to run a cultural movement. That's what I want to do.
But the thing that Tommy found impossible to ignore was this interview that Nigel Farage conducted on LBC.
Tommy Robinson character, who some see as a hero. And all right, he's talked about grooming gangs and other things, although he's hardly been on his own on that, has he? I mean, I was first being condemned in 2012 for daring to talk about it.
Anne Cryer was talking in 2002.
Yeah, no, she was, she is the heroine.
20 plus years.
She's the heroine of all of this.
Yeah.
As indeed, to be fair, Andrew Norfolk, who was
the
writing for the
Times
Times, and Sue Reid on the Mail. There were some very brave figures early on. But when figures like myself as party leaders dared pop their head over the parapet, we were smashed back down very, very quickly. Robinson's talked about this, but he has a criminal record, a list as long as your arm. Violence against women. I could go on, Nick. Right. And all I'm saying is, look, Mr. Robinson, do what the hell you like. We are totally separate from that. And I never wanted, and you know this, you've known me long enough to know, I've never wanted my parties to have anything to do with the BNP or extremism, and I never will.
Why have they attracted people then, Mr. Farage?
So, Tommy Robinson has finally and very feistily responded to Nigel in detail, accusing him of holding up a white flag to Islam.
And I'd hoped that Nigel Farage, but then when I heard the first statement was that he's not for mass deportations. Then I heard he doesn't care about demographic replacement. Then I heard Shamina Begum can come home. Then I heard that by I watched it recently, since I've been out of jail, him saying that by 2050 the Islamic community is so big and so vast in the UK that we can't isolate Islam in any way. We need to work with them. I think, fucking hell, Nigel. That's why we need to stop it, mate. That's why we need to stop it. We can't surrender now. You're basically holding up a white flag to Islam. Oh, there's too many of them. Better give up. Better just change our culture, let them do what the fuck they want. No, we need to stop it. Yeah, that's why we're in a race against time. So when Nigel Farage put Zia Youssef, and I don't know Zia Youssef, but I very much doubt that a political party is going to be in a position to tackle the Islamisation of this country if its chairman is a follower of that Islamic ideology. I don't think, and maybe I'm being unfair here. Yeah, and again, I don't want any of this. I just wanted, but Nigel, do you know the bit that really upset me? Was a statement that was made that I have convictions for violence against women. Now, bearing in mind I'm sat in a cell, solitary confinement, and then I have to hear that my children's mother's having to make a statement because my kids are going to go to school next day and start getting told bullshit from someone like Nigel Farage on TV who's making allegations. But prior to this, I'd watched and listened as Kemi Badenoch said something about Reform's membership not being correct or something, because they had this counter on their website about how many members they were getting. And Nigel went mad about her allegation. And she must accept what she said was wrong. And then he sits on TV and says, I've got a conviction for violence against women, which there's no truth in it all. I just think, Jesus.
Tommy also clarified that he didn't ask to join Reform, while joining criticism that I have to say I've made, that Nigel is wrong to keep playing this MSM game, sitting down all the time with the likes of the British Bashing Corporation, Sly News, and even Channel 4.
Because he was insinuating that you'd asked to join Reform.
I've never asked. He's not welcome in Reform. I think I didn't ask to join Reform. Why are you on the news every day talking about me joining Reform? And why are you still acting like the media matter? Why are you sitting down? When I'm looking at them, I think, what are you sitting down on Channel 4 News for? They hate you. Fuck Channel 4 News. You don't need them anymore. You've got your own show. But you've got enough now alternative journalists and citizen journalists. But here you are attacking the citizen journalists and sitting with the mainstream. You're never going to win them unless you're doing what they want you to, unless you're acting the way they want you to act. So you're trying to think you can win over everyone and no one's going to hate you.
Tommy also reiterated his demand for Nigel to apologise.
I wasn't the first. Neither was Rupert. There's been a whole long list of them.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that unfolds. And again, I don't want to be disruptive amongst the right. And also, I hope one day Nigel Farage sees the error of his ways and decides to put right the wrongs he's done, because you can't be lying about people.
I could easily now come out and go to a lawyer and sue him. I could easily do that. Yeah, because it's a total lie. Everything he said's a total lie. I just think he should apologise. I think he should have apologised at the time. Don't have to apologise to me. Apologise to my kids and my wife because you lied.
Now, I have to credit Liam Tufts for such a fascinating interview. And he too, knowing what's going on behind the scenes at GB News, has now challenged the broadcaster to reverse its ban in light of a very obvious shifting of the Overton window. He wrote, "A lot of journalists and media outlets will be watching my podcast and there's things they'll hear that should be reported on, but they won't because they're cowards. I hope after watching this, GB News break the cowardice mold and invite Tommy onto their show. They'd learn a lot and see with their own eyes the importance of his work. As a dear friend, I've known the media have lied about Tommy for years. He's a threat to the establishment, and the media is a weapon for the establishment. But the tide's now turned. These people are wise to the media lies. Who will be brave enough to report on tonight's interview? We'll see. Well, so far, not GB News. Now, the Superstar Panel. And now back, June Slater, Leilani Dowding. So, Leilani, there's a lot to pick up on there. I mean, the first thing is, how shocking was it for you to hear GB News just allow, okay, he's one of their lefty people, but to allow that guy, Andy 12s, to just parrot, like, provable lie after lie after lie after lie, to the point where Patrick Christie's finally stepped in when he said that he stole money from people. But it's a bit like, come on.
Well, having seen the way that the GB News people shout in your ear, you, Mark Stein, other GB News presenters, the moment you go slightly off the narrative that they want to push, I was really shocked that they didn't jump in immediately, especially how disparaging it is and what utter nonsense it is. And again, what you won't see is a whole barrage of Ofcom complaints, because you know what? The lefties won't be setting up those calculated, inorganic complaints that end up going to Ofcom about something that's completely wrong on GB News. So there'll be no repercussions for that. And Tommy, as you said, very graciously accepted his apology, when we know there's a lot of people like on the left who would jump straight to the nearest lawyer to go and sue, for false allegations and defamation and such. So, it's quite interesting to see, as you said, the Overton window shift, where now people seem to be able to mention his name now that the tide's turning, and now that so many people, I think, have watched his documentary and are actually doing their own research into Tommy and seeing a lot of the Americans who are freely interviewing Tommy, and that great interview with Liam Tufts, where he actually gets to put his side across. And I think that's been really important for me. I watched his interview before he went into prison with Jordan Peterson, and I learned a lot about him. Now, I've always been a vocal supporter, which is why it's upsetting to me when I saw Nigel Farage come out with those lies about him, the violence to women. I'd been to Tommy's Unite the Kingdom protest, and he never said a bad word about Nigel. He said, as we've discussed before, he never wanted to join reform, yet Nigel kept putting this out. He's not welcome, he's not welcome. Just at that point, that was before he actually lied about Tommy, but he was still speaking badly about him. Why did he even have to do that? Why did he have to go there? Why don't you just say nothing at all? The way Tommy said nothing at all about Nigel up until now.
Indeed, and Tommy Robinson did actually endorse Reform UK before the last election. That is a fact. So why do you think GB News continues to have this ban, Leilani? Because remember, they will put on the most extreme hard leftists, the most extreme Islamists, because their argument is, well, we're providing balance.
Yeah.
But Tommy Robinson, Katie Hopkins, no, totally banned.
Because I think they're scared of the pylon, because of these inorganic Ofcom complaints that start happening when somebody on the left starts putting these mass emails out saying, hey, this is what we've got to do. Let's call in, let's email in, let's make complaints about this show at this time with this presenter, and let's all jump on this. And it's a very orchestrated movement when the complaints start going in. Happened to Mark Stein, happened to Ewan Loza, it happened to Neil Oliver. It's not organic. And I think that GB News are pandering to this time and time again, which is why actually it's like, the same reason that Piers Morgan now wants him on. Oh, now Piers wants him on because he knows it's going to bring in the viewers, and he's not with Talk TV.
June, obviously you're an ally of Nigel Farage, but isn't this the time for him to accept he got it wrong? The Overton window is shifted. Tommy Robinson was completely right. Apologise, but maybe not just apologise, June, actually have him on his GB News show. Why not?
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will either.
Tommy, I'm not supporting this. I will no doubt get hammered on the thread. I'm explaining why I don't think he will, because of proscription. Google it. I don't agree with it. If it was me, I would embrace Tommy to a degree. I think the one thing we have to look at here, the big enemy, whilst it looks like it's Farage, is the media. When Nigel Farage does any public speaking, any flag waving, any, come and vote for reform type stuff, he never brings the topic up. The media bring it up. The hosts of the show bring it up because it's juicy and they know they've nobbled him. They know it's something he doesn't want to talk about. They know that there's no cohesion. The media are still pushing this fake narrative about Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson has Muslim friends. Tommy Robinson has black friends. Tommy Robinson has lots of people. But what Tommy has to do also is accept the fact that Zia Yusuf is not someone to worry about. Just like Tommy will be able to vouch for people who happen to be Muslim, who he knows that he would vouch for.
So, June, were you offended? Were you offended by Tommy Robinson? Because in this interview, he did say that he doesn't trust Reform UK on Islam. He says Nigel Farage has waved a white flag, and he did point to the fact that he doesn't trust Reform UK because they do now have, well, he's not chairman anymore, but a very senior figure in the party in Zia Yusuf.
I think he's on the wrong track there, if you want my honest opinion. Just because I like Tommy and I support him doesn't mean he's right about everything. And that's what people have to also digest. Neither is Nigel Farage. If I was Nigel Farage and I was being interviewed and a journalist started speaking, because it will be the journalist that brings it up, I'd just say, can we move on? Because they love to eat into the time they've got with him talking about that, because it doesn't give the party time to talk about what they're up to. As far as the Islamic situation is concerned, everybody rolls out that clip with Winston Marshall's show where he said, yes, we will lose, we will lose. That is a soundbite. People are making massive political decisions on a soundbite. If you want to know what it will be like going down the Rupert Lowe route, which is what a lot of people are jockeying for on the right, then expect to live like Northern Ireland for the next 10 years. Expect to have cordons in your street. Expect to have sporadic attacks, vehicles ploughing into restaurants, knife attacks. If you think you're having a lot now, I said all this 10 years ago with Brexit, when we first started seeing Charlie Hebdo and people were changing the profile picture. And I said, one day it'll become so frequent, you won't be bothered to change your profile picture. It'll just become news. What will happen, the next stage will become violent and horrid, just like when they tried to get that child out of a home in an ethnic community and take it into care. 24 hours of rioting, vehicles torched, buses turned over, people have to board the windows up. You will create that environment. And I wouldn't want to be the politician that creates that environment, especially when the politician, whoever he is, will be able to flit off back to the safety and security of a leafy suburb or a country estate or wherever they live. So Tommy is a fighter. And a lot of the, especially working class people, because we are the ones that's had to tolerate the vast demographic changes in our society, are right behind Tommy. And this.
And what about GB News overall, June? Because you're talking about Nigel Farage from a political point of view, right? Because of Reform UK, and he's worried about votes, and he's worried about the media branding him far right. But what about GB News? They have the most extreme people from the left on that channel all the time. But Katie Hopkins is banned, Carl Benjamin is banned, Tommy is banned.
I don't agree with it at all. I think Katie Hopkins and Tommy Robinson should be able to go on the People's Channel because they are supported by a large majority of people who watch that channel. Absolutely. I quite often share stuff about Katie. I do odd videos about her. I share a lot of Tommy's work. But getting back to the Farage rift, when people saying he allowed Shamama Begum, let's just clarify this. That is a sweeping statement that is completely inaccurate. Nigel's been misquoted there. It was about a topic that Sebastian Gorka brought up. And Nigel, because it was being talked about, Nigel Farage said there should be a discussion on this. He didn't support it. He was telling you that the government was compromised. He wasn't supporting it. It's been misunderstood. But GB News, that man, that Andy, he's made a shed load of mistakes. And what he said about Tommy Robinson is unforgivable. Never mind an apology. I think it's unforgivable.
I agree.
I try to be rational. People see it as, oh, I've swallowed the reform pill. No, I haven't. Not at all. In 2022, I was telling people not to pay any membership to reform because I couldn't see them going anywhere. And now I can see them doing something. And the work is at the opposite end of you're looking at the big people, the Rupert Lows, the Ben Habibs, the ones that get on the telly. I'm looking at the council level people, the ordinary people, the volunteers, the people that are making a difference now. The only way you're going to break this tyranny up is by doing it from the bottom to the top. The top is 3-4 years away. And what we need an infrastructure of people that have been ensconced within local government so that all this Doge, because that's all Zia is employed for now, is to do this Doge.
Oh, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. He's pulling all those strings behind the scenes.
No,
he's basically chairman,
not.
other than entitled, June. He's the power guy.
I totally
there.
disagree.
Come on.
Totally disagree. If that's the narrative you want to believe because of direct contact you'll have with people who don't like reform, then you believe it. What I see there is, I see Zia as a safety net. I think his background is a safety net. It's like saying, try and call us racist now. You can't. You look how they've clammed up. They've stopped it. There was, I can't remember her name, curly blonde hair off Channel 4. She's completely calmed it down. I don't, if that's what you're going to put out, then obviously people will think they've no chance with reform. They have to vote for somebody else where they think they have a chance. I'm not here to curry favour for reform. I have my own views on what I would do in an election. And I do think that, even now, even though we've got GB News, we've got citizen broadcasters, the bulk of this nation absolutely wind me up because they're completely clueless. They don't take any notice of anything. They're still watching the BBC and ITV and these people that start.
It is changing,
every single thing with Tommy Robinson of EDL. Why don't we bring up Hugh, what was he called?
Hugh Edwards.
Pedo.
Hugh Edwards. Exactly. No one talks about the BBC, an organisation that basically covered for paedophiles throughout their entire careers. Jimmy Savile, Hugh Edwards being one. I mean, I completely agree. And also, look, we won't even get into the EDL discussion today. But the point is that the media is proven to be totally dishonest when it comes to Tommy Robinson. Developing today, Tommy Robinson has said he will go head-to-head with Piers Morgan on Uncensored, despite thousands of his supporters saying that is a huge mistake after the former Good Morning Britain presenter made it clear during his appearance on that show all he intends to do is take down the UK's political prisoner. But he was questioned about his decision to go head-to-head with Piers by Liam Tufts on The Dozen. Watch.
Piers Morgan, let's talk about him for a little bit. Comes out, slams you, lies about you, flexes his chest, then goes completely silent. Then you come out, you seem like you're on the up, very popular, and he appears on X and he starts goading you again.
Well, he set up his own channel, isn't he? And he wants the views on his own channel. Look, Piers is a very clever man. So, and do you know what? I'd agree with him on a lot. But the problem with Piers now is, what does he even believe? Does anyone even know? Does he even know? At least when I talk, people know that's what I believe. That's where I stand. I don't change where I stand. Yeah, I never have. Piers is pro-Israel, then it's called to be against Israel. What gets more likes, what gets more clicks, that's what Piers says, basically. So Piers, when I went on his first show, Good Morning Britain, was it? That was the most watched episode of that show ever. Piers knew what he was doing. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. Very clever. So I'd like to, when I am going to, I know he's trying to give me some time frame. I said, I've just come out of jail. I'm putting it simply, I'm not well from that.
We're going to wrap this up soon.
I look forward to talking to Piers Morgan as long as he actually lets me talk. What I've said is, I've had deadlines. I've come out. I've had to get what I've done. And
you can see there, and this is something that Piers Morgan just doesn't understand, because he's treating Tommy Robinson as some sort of piece of meat just to get views. Actually, he's still incredibly emotional about the horrendous experience he's just gone through. He's also picked up on the fact that Piers is almost goading him into going back to jail by trying to talk to him about the details of the film that got him locked up in the first place. Watch.
No, because it seems like he wants to talk about the film that had just gone out. Well, I'll go straight to jail, Piers. You know that. I'll go straight to jail. I can't get on there and defend my point on that film because I'll go straight to prison. But I think there's a lot that me and Piers can talk about. And I think that what I don't like to do, which is when I went on there last time, when I went on with Piers Morgan, he seemed to make it about my personal character. Now, I could have attacked Piers' personal character. That's not what the public want to hear at the time. We've got what, 2, 3 minute, 4 minute slot on national TV. Well, I went on there to get my points across that the public need listening to. Islam, the Quran, terrorism, jihad. We need to talk about this, not talk about me and you. You know what I mean? But now, so it's his own channel. I'm happy to have the clash, Piers. Yeah, it's not clash you're going to win. It's just not clash he's going to win.
Fighting talk, I love it. And I think he's probably right, actually. He also raised the fact that Piers and Nigel Farage keep on talking about his criminal record, which he says is hypocritical.
Because even like when Nigel Farage is going on about me being a criminal, I think, Nigel, one of your MPs volleyed a woman in the head, his missus, and went to jail for it. You're supporting his best mate, who he's always with, was laundering money for the cartels, went to jail in America. That's Nigel's best mate. He's always with him. Yeah? I think I look through the other bloke he was having to stand that has got a massive list of criminal records far worse than mine. So I just don't get it. And Piers Morgan does the same. Piers, you're obviously not from the same place I'm from. You're not from the same background I'm from. You're from a privileged lifestyle, as are your children. They've lived a totally privileged lifestyle. But I do think that he's got his own large platform now. A lot of people message me saying, don't do it. Don't give him the airtime. It's not about giving him the airtime. It's about giving our cause the airtime. It's about discussing and debating the topics of conversation that we want raised, which is the most important point. That doesn't matter if Piers is going to try and make me look like an idiot in the process.
To the superstar panel, Leilani Dowding and June Slater. June, is Tommy Robinson making a big mistake agreeing to go head-to-head with Piers Morgan on Uncensored?
Depends how soon it is. I think he needs some time to heal. If that
Very
was my
emotional
son,
there, wasn't he, June?
Yes, he was. And all credit to him. I can't believe he's come out punching the way he has already. Not a lot of men could. I mean, what he's been through it's horrid. It should never have happened in our society. And to even accept the challenge, even if it's delayed a little while, it should be delayed a bit of, because of humanitarian reasons. Give him time to come round. It's different doing a podcast with your friend Liam to go into an adversary, and Piers will be an adversary because that is what would make it interesting. And he's got to be careful he doesn't get tripped up because of his bail conditions or whatever positions is in.
Yeah, because he could get sent back to
He
jail
could.
for contempt of court again.
Having said that, I think Tommy's a very highly intelligent individual. I've watched that Oxford Union speech he did, and I've watched him with Jeremy Paxman when he was a young man. This man, had he had the opportunities that people like Paxman and Piers Morgan had, would have been flying by now. He would have been revered and probably just as fair because he's got a good nature on him. Do you know what I mean? So he didn't get that in his early years. He was working class. He was, people just muddle through, don't they? And I think he's got more than the capability to take Piers Morgan on, but the timing must be right for Tommy to be back to firing on all four cylinders. He's a while off yet. I really wouldn't like it if it was my son. I would think, oh no, don't do it now. Wait till your resolve is stronger. People coming out of institutionalized environments like that, especially with what he's been through, they need some time to reboot. And it's only how long he's only been out? A few days, literally.
Yes.
Yes,
even and he's away with his kids at the moment, and I think he needs that. Now, Leilani, just before I come to you, because June has mentioned that interview that Tommy Robinson, a very famous interview that Tommy Robinson did with Jeremy Paxman. It's been going a little bit viral again this week.
Yeah.
And I like reminding people of it because it just proves how corrupted the mainstream media were, because pretty much everything Tommy Robinson said in that interview has now been proven in the Casey report. So let's just have a quick watch before we come to you, Leilani.
One who's been murdered by a Muslim gang. You probably don't. I do. Do you know any 15-year-old girls that you know that you've grown up with that have been raped or pimped? You don't. So I don't expect you to understand the issues.
These are all personal issues of yours.
Personal issues in towns and cities like mine that are happening, and they're not happening with the Sikh community. They're not happening with the Jewish community.
And indeed, they're not happening with most Muslims.
No, they're happening within the Islamic community. This is what I'm saying, that it's an Islamic problem. And when I'm just a simple person, so I'm just a normal person, but when I'm looking at, I have to look for where this hatred is coming from.
So are you seriously suggesting there aren't white drug dealers and there aren't white gangs?
Of course I'm not, no.
Or Sikh gangs or any other kind of...
No, I'm not, but I'm saying some of these specific issues are coming from the Islamic community, solely the Islamic community. Terrorists wanting to blow us up, constant hostile activity towards our youth, all these problems, and from sitting back, there's got to be something it's coming from. None of the other communities are spreading it, so we're a symptom of the problem. The English Defence League are a symptom.
You're claiming that community is spreading it. Actually, what we're talking about
Members
here...
of the community.
Yes, exactly, as you could talk about
I'm not saying
members
the
of the
whole
white community doing all sorts of atrocious things.
Yeah, but not 24-year-old groups of 10 of them hanging around outside school gates.
You've never seen a white gang?
And purposely targeting...
Never seen a white gang?
Are we going to pretend that Muslim groups are not out there purposely targeting our youth and pimping them?
Marvellous.
Are we going to pretend it's not
You're
happening?
not pretending white people aren't doing that?
Then not in the same manner, not in the same group. They're saying it's a cultural thing.
And Leilani, actually, that was 2011. So the mainstream media did pretend for 15 years, actually. They did pretend.
Absolutely they did. So that's why I think it's going to be very interesting when he goes on Piers Morgan's
So
show.
do you think he should do it, Leilani, firstly?
I do think so, but as June said, a little bit of time. I just watched him on Patrick Bet David. I think there's a lot of people that he should go on first where he knows that he will be able to speak, because who knows what happens with Piers Morgan. Tommy has it absolutely right in that interview. You don't know if he'll just get interrupted and Piers does his usual thing of just speaking over him like he likes to do. You don't know if Piers Morgan's going to try and goad him into talking about the film that he's not allowed to talk about. But one thing Piers Morgan can't do is say that history has changed or that facts have changed the same way that Piers Morgan has claimed that science changed over COVID. He can't say facts have changed. He can't say history has changed. He can't use those words again with Tommy. What's the facts are the facts and the history is the history. So he either has to accept what Tommy's saying as correct, but I do think he'll try and trip Tommy up, but Tommy knows his facts. He has everything in line. He's not like that guy that was on GB News that throws out a statement and can't back it up. Oh, but he said racist, heinous things. Well, what racist, heinous things? And then he can't answer it because it's all hearsay.
Andy 12s, who of course had to apologise.
Exactly.
Because he's worried about Tommy suing him.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like Tommy knows his facts and can back everything up that he talks about. And this whole thing is, I hate to see it when they start talking about Tommy's criminal history, because I watched the Jordan Peterson show with him where he was allowed to speak. And one of the things he got done with mortgage fraud was the same way that Trump got done over the Mar-a-Lago loans, where, maybe the value wasn't right, or it was over a self-cert mortgage. I know so many people, if you're over 45, like I am, you would know people that might have inflated their income slightly on a self-cert mortgage. That's what Tommy had done. And Tommy had paid back every single penny of that mortgage. It was in his brother's name. The mortgage had been paid back, and they came after him like they did with Trump's Mar-a-Lago
Yes,
loan.
because
So
he has
I
been
wonder
subjected to state warfare now for 2 decades. But what is so shocking about it, though, is that much of what's said isn't actually based in any reality. So it doesn't particularly matter if you're Tommy, because you're thinking, well, I never abused a woman, yet Nigel Farage is on LBC saying I abused a woman. So it's very, very difficult. I mean, June Slater, are you surprised that Piers Morgan is maintaining this very anti-Tommy Robinson position, given that America, which is the audience that Piers Morgan cares about most, has completely woken up to the fact that Tommy Robinson is a real hero.
Surprised. He wants controversy for his channel. I don't think he's thinking any deeper than that. And obviously, sometimes I think he can come across as a bit of a bully. And the last thing you want when you're a bit fragile, and Tommy, even though he's a strong man, will be a bit fragile after what he's been through. In the hands of Jordan Peterson, it would be a reasonable interview where topics would be discussed rationally. The one thing I'd love to point out with people like Jeremy Paxman and Emily Maitlis, who are still banging on this week about it, these people are wrong. The left-wing journalist cult, and you are a cult, are wrong. Now, either you can't read or you can't be bothered to research, because this has been going on since I was a child. Grooming gang issues that Tommy Robinson was the reason I first knew about it. Tommy Robinson was the reason I did my first ever post in 2017 about grooming gangs. He was the reason. Now, other people say, yes, it was Tommy Robinson. And I had to then subsequently take over 500 posts down about Tommy Robinson that I'd made because Facebook threatened to take down UK Politics Uncovered. That's how visceral the establishment is with Tommy and Katie Hopkins. It's only since recent times that, since Musk has come into the affray with Twitter, that Tommy Robinson and Katie have had proper pages on social media. I think it's horrendous what they've done with these two individuals. And Tommy Robinson, like it or not, was vocal and courageous and brave. And he was the reason. No one else. After that, I learned about what Maggie Oliver was doing. And Maggie Oliver is doing some incredible work right now. And she's got a hashtag going. And the hashtag is, they knew. They knew. They bloody well knew. Everybody knew. My parents knew. I knew. If my parents, who are long dead now, knew what was going on, the councils knew what was going on. Everybody knew, and it's been covered up. And Tommy was one of the shining lights. That's why he's loved. Politicians get supported. Tommy Robinson is loved. I said that to Liam Tufts when I was talking to him. That's the difference with Tommy Robinson. And it will always be like that because the people love what he's tried to do. And especially when fat cat presenters who are on big, humongous wages, who have had university education and are institutionalized in the way they go about things. And some of them actually, I would say, cultural Marxists, attack Tommy because he's a threat. He's a threat.
Yeah, and they think that we're stupid. They think we're stupid and they think that we're not going to remember what they said. But the great thing is that we now have the receipts. So Emily Maitlis and Lewis Goodall and Patrick Christie's, we know what you were saying 10 years ago. So don't try and tell us that you've changed your mind now, unless actually you are prepared to come out and apologize. That's what I think you have to do. I've got loads of stuff wrong in my career, loads of stuff wrong. But the point is, I'll come out. I'll own it. I don't try and shy away from anything that I've ever said or written. But what we're seeing is this sort of changing of the tone as if we're all completely stupid. I do think with Piers Morgan, though, the one good thing about the way Piers conducts his debates is that it is all there. So if he has changed his mind, he's going to have to do a grovelling apology just like he did after all of the COVID madness. Developing right now, Owen Jones, the hard left extremist, has just been exposed over the Pakistani Muslim rape gang scandals, and it is beautiful to watch. Absolutely beautiful to watch. Because this evil, devious little twerp, who is actually so extreme that no one should take the guy seriously ever again, but for some reason maintains a major platform at the likes of The Guardian. Oh, by the way, despite bullying loads of women out of their roles there, yeah, this is the type of nice guy we're dealing with. He's like the Meghan Markle of The Guardian. But what's so brilliant is that he is another one He is another one of these people who is trying to rewrite history when it comes to the biggest scandal in British history. But the great thing is, we have the receipts, Owen Jones. You've been caught. So what I'm going to show you now is what Owen Jones has tried to say that he said about the Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs, and then what he actually said.
Nowhere did I deny that British men of Pakistani origin had raped many white girls in, for example, Rotherham and Telford. These are horrific scandals, which are very much real, and it is not racist or untrue to talk about those scandals.
About vulnerable white girls being targeted by British Pakistani grooming gangs. Now, that is the sort of thing you would have expected to read in BNP leaflets, and which not that long ago would actually have been condemned by Tory and Labour politicians alike. But we are in 2023 in the worst possible timeline. It's not true. It's really important to make this very, very clear. It isn't true.
You absolute pillock! You've just been caught! So not only are you completely morally bankrupt, not only are you on the wrong side of history forever, you're also a proven liar. Now, Leilani Dowding saw this and posted, "Always keep receipts from scum like Owen Jones. They will deny saying what they very clearly did." And she joins me on the Superstar panel alongside June Slater. Leilani Dowding, I mean, look, we can laugh at this, but it's chilling as well, isn't it? It's absolutely chilling. The front that someone like Owen Jones will have to literally tell us that he said black was white.
This is what I don't understand. It's 2025. We have video and Twitter and social media and all these posts that people have made are out there for us to just pull up. We just need to put in a thing. Let's type in anything and it pulls up the videos or it pulls up people's posts. So don't deny it. If you want to say you're wrong, say you're wrong. Hold your hands up, say, I apologize. I was really wrong. It's so heinous. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. It's just the most vile thing. I just couldn't imagine it. And I'm really sorry. And I feel bad for the victim. And and I'm so sorry that I didn't believe. Say that, but they don't. They'll just turn around and try and make up they didn't say it. And it's crazy. You can't do that. You cannot do that at this time. And so, he should have apologized. It just makes him look more like the scum he is. It really does. It just makes him look like the gross, vile scum that he is.
Because June Slater, there's absolutely no way to spin what he said. I mean, he literally said it wasn't true. He literally denied the existence of this scandal.
But they're all doing it. Have you not noticed? Apart from Mateless, who seems to be sticking to her guns, there was an article in The Independent, like drawing our attention to the monstrosities of the. I've got to be careful with the channel, with the gangs. And Owen Jones, I mean, come on, he was brought up by cultural Marxists. He's a cultural Marxist. I'm happy to stand corrected if you can find any evidence that shows he isn't. These people live and breathe that before they do anything. They're activists in journalism, not journalists, not the other way around. That's how I see them. And now they're trying to get out the treacle. You're in. Sorry, come on. Nobody's expecting anyone not to make a mistake. And I always own mine. I mean, I apologised last week to Sammy Woodhouse on Twitter because she deserved it. I got something wrong. I left her out of something I was writing. I didn't mean it intentionally. I felt awful about it. I've messaged her privately. She hasn't seen it yet. And own it, because especially if you didn't intend it. But
yeah,
the trouble is that they're lying.
Look, the point is, it's like, that's a great example, June, because we are never going to get everything right. Okay, I've now had a track record in the public. People can go back and look at what I've been writing since 2007, at least on Fleet Street. And of course, there's loads of things I've got wrong. Loads of people that I feel terrible about having got the wrong end of the stick on, or I've changed my mind, or whatever. But this is not some small fry issue. This is him literally playing cover up over the biggest issue, or what Alison Pearson has said on this show is the biggest scandal in British history. And he's not the only one. He's not the only one, because I want to show you this guy called Nick Lowles. Now, you may not have heard of him, but he is a really nefarious force in the United Kingdom, because he runs the charity called Hope Not Hate, which is actually a hate-filled organisation which tries to shut down people like me, people like Tommy Robinson, people like Father Calvin Robinson, by claiming that we are somehow far right. Tommy Robinson once actually confronted him face to face. Watch.
That story you pay them, you blackmail them. I know you've got the media waiting to run your stories.
Yeah,
I know you have.
I
know you have. Because that's what your job is. Your job is to create the source, create a lie, and then the media wait there and pump it.
Yeah.
That's what you do. And I'm exposing you for it in a documentary. No one's going to try.
Well, this week, Nick Lowles posted on X saying, I've always wanted an inquiry into the grooming gangs. He turned off the comment, and Tommy pointed out 1.2 million views and only 181 likes. Wow, that's the world saying F you. Nick Lowles, you facilitated child rape. You tried to destroy us, not them. Your children will grow up to understand the traitor you was. And then Charlotte Gill, who we know does a lot of great work in terms of exposing where the money is coming from when it comes to these left-wing organisations, posted, well, Hope Not Hate, whose charitable arm received £140,000 from taxpayers in 2019 to 2020, is also behind the anti-Elon Musk campaign. Tommy replied saying, Hope Not Hate were the main group used to destroy those exposing Islamic rape gangs. Join the dots. It's the deep state. They despise free speech. On September the 13th, in a show of defiance, the UK will hold the largest free speech festival Europe has ever seen. So, June Slater, Hope Not Hate, this is another organisation that has been truly exposed, truly called out for being on the wrong side of history. How despicable is it that they still receive any form of government funding?
Well, you've just said it, it's despicable. And I'm sure I've read somewhere, correct me if I'm wrong, that George Soros's, Open Democracy Foundation, don't they give them some funding? I mean, that's a red flag for me. These think tanks and quangos and organisations that set themselves up as some sort of puritanical super force that's going to direct traffic. All you need to look at is what the people think. What do the real people of Britain think? Because the rape gang inquiry, it's in every town. There's probably not a town that's been untouched. Blackpool, I mean, God, there was even rumours of a girl ending up in a kebab. Come on. There are girls that have lost their life, girls that have lost everything, girls that have, 4,000 young girls were cautioned for prostitution. How can you do that when they're under? How can you caution a child for prostitution when grown men who are perpetrating this crime in great numbers across the mill towns of Lancashire and Yorkshire and beyond? How can you do that? How can you even give that credence? We don't need an inquiry. What we need is someone to have the balls to turn around and say, right, you've got all the information from the Alexis J inquiry. Get into it. The Alexis J inquiry cost 184 million, took 7 years, grueling testimony from many, many of the survivors and other people involved. It's all documented. Maggie Oliver gave them the ethnic minority, background details in 2013. All the information is documented. Get out and get some arrests. We don't need to inquire what's wrong. We know what's wrong. Pakistani gang. Try and join a gang without knowing a Pakistani. Try and join one. See how far you get. Get out there. Yeah. Let's get some policing done. Let's get some proper coppering done.
Yes, of course. But what Hope Not Hate are just continuing to do, right, is attack people who are trying to deal with the problem. That is their whole thing. Yeah. It's about cancellation. And Leilani, the latest people who they're going for, and I'll read you the letter in just one moment, the latest people they're going for the incredible Great British PAC, you know, which has Ben Habib as a chairman, our friend who's like the biggest patriot on earth. You know, no one could, Claire Bulliman, no one could love the United Kingdom more than her. And look, well, Basil the Great summed it up by saying, Hope Not Hate have threatened to expose the Great British PAC, and Ben Habib has told them to do one. His letter was brilliant, but it just does show you, Leilani, doesn't it, that Hope Not Hate are on the wrong side of this. They are literally now trying to shut down patriots who are speaking the truth.
But they always have been. Just look at what happened when there was a Southport riots, when Lucy Connolly posted that deleted the social media post that she then deleted. Wayne O'Rourke went to jail for memes. Nick, is it Knowles? He posted that there were white people.
Oh yes, Nick Knowles. Yes.
Right? He posted white people were out there throwing acid on Muslim women. It was a complete lie. Do you not think that stirred up some hatred? Yet no one touched him. Did he even get arrested? Did the police talk to him? He was allowed to say that during that crucial time, and nothing happened to him. He stirs up problems all the time. And I absolutely loved what the PAC did. They said, we stand behind our members. We don't care what they may have said in the past. People change their minds all the time.
Exactly.
We stand by our members.
And you know what I just thought, Leilani? If only Reform UK and Nigel Farage had taken that approach. Don't come for our members. Don't do offence archaeology in our members. Who cares? I actually want to read it to you because I know a lot of you won't have seen this, but it was a letter from Ben Habib, and it's quite long, but it is worth listening to. He writes, we have received an email from Hope Not Hate threatening to publish an article targeting the Great British PAC and several of our regional directors over things they have supposedly said in the past. This is our response to Hope Not Hate. Frankly, we couldn't care less what Hope Not Hate thinks or publish. Your attempts to label and smear aren't new. We've seen it all before, and it has zero effect on what we do or who we are. These smear tactics are straight out of the far-left playbook, an attempt to shut down free speech through intimidation and public shaming. It's a direct attack on democracy. We don't care what our members have said in the past. They haven't broken any laws. We will always defend their right to speak freely. Free speech is the bedrock of a free society, and the moment you start policing opinions and ideas, you cross into dangerous totalitarian territory. We stand by all our board directors, including Carl Benjamin, Edward Oakenfull, Antonio, Peter Storms, Paul Hopkins, Alex Stevenson, Donna Edmonds, Caroline Smith, Scott Lewis, Sarah Morris, Anthony Mack, Catriona Flair, and Guy Lachlan. Hope Not Hate isn't holding power to account. You're trying to become the thought police. But we're not afraid, and we're not backing down. We will stand by our people without hesitation. Also, just so you know, we aren't a political party. We are an action committee. We don't posture, we act. We don't apologise, we mobilise. We are a growing force across the patriotic so-called right, made up of people who may not agree on everything. Some back Kemi, some back Nigel, some back Tommy. But we're all united by one thing, a deep love for this country and a fierce determination to protect us. You call us far right, that's tired and lazy. What we are is right. And so far, we've been proven right, time and again. Meanwhile, you can keep shouting from the sidelines. We're already past you. This Labour government is failing the country. Much of the media class is complicit. The public knows it, and we're building the infrastructure now to make sure the patriotic voice isn't just heard, it's unstoppable. We are laser focused, blinkers on, no time for your noise. We know where the finish line is. Come 2029, we will be ready. Until then, sit back and watch, call us names, publish your articles, scream into the void. It won't stop us. In fact, it just proves what we already knew. You're scared because the people are with us now. We represent all parties. We've even had lifelong Labour voters join the Great British PAC. So publish away, do your worst. We're not going anywhere. And thanks for the publicity, Ben Habib, chair of the Great British PAC. Absolutely brilliant, Ben. But look, I want to get both of your opinion now on the breaking news today that the assisted dying bill has passed by just 23 votes. Now, my view is that this is a completely flawed, sick bill. Leilani Dowding, it feels like this government is becoming the government of death. given that we've already seen abortion effectively legalized or at least decriminalized up until the day of birth in the same week. And it feels like there's not been enough scrutiny here, but what's your verdict on this?
I think had I not seen what's happened the last 5 years, I may have possibly supported it for people that, you know, were going through a lot of pain at the end or had a really bad dementia diagnosis. But given what I've seen and seen what I've seen in Canada, where they've offered euthanasia to say, this is a fact, former Paralympian, all she wanted was a stairlift and they offered her euthanasia. To me, what they're not doing is they're not helping people in life.
100%.
Which is, you know,
100%.
what we pay our taxes for, isn't it? We don't
and when
pay
does this
to put
become a
people in hotels.
money-saving thing for the NHS? Because June, do you know under this legislation that an anorexic, for example, could be offered for their life to be ended without their family even being consulted?
Well, it just proves that it can be abused. I don't trust the people putting the legislation out. You know, we've just had a loved one pass away in excruciating circumstances.
Sorry.
Horrible death.
So sorry.
It was David's father. I wouldn't want to put anybody through that. But I certainly wouldn't want to think that assisted dying was available to people. What about people with no family? What about people who have mentally impaired that don't get a say? I just think it's open to abuse. I think it's a rocky road. And the thing is, a lot of the problems with people who are dying very unpleasant deaths is staff shortages within the NHS.
Yes.
And I think the best thing to do would be, instead of spending money on wars and weapons and stupid things overseas, why not put some more money into the NHS to frontline staff and realign it?
I know, but the problem is,
model again.
the problem is this is just going to turn. I mean, there's going to be a lot to talk about this over the months to come, because this is going to turn the NHS into even more of a mess than it already is. And do we trust the NHS not to think, oh, we can knock a few people off? You know, awful, absolutely awful. But look, do stand by June Slater and Leilani Dowding, because in just 1 minute, shocking allegations that Naga Munchetty is a bully and has made inappropriate sexual remarks at the BBC. Is she being protected because she's a woman? I'm going to tell you all about this. It's really shocking stuff in just 1 minute, so don't go anywhere. But first, do you know how often I talk about the need for free speech to be protected? Well, I've been increasingly thinking lately of the need for personal protection from snoopers, bad actors, and hackers online. And I'm delighted to tell you, I've found the fail-safe solution. But what's more, this VPN, or virtual private network to use the full term, is also a life changer when it comes to providing you entertainment and information from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. Let me introduce you to Surfshark, an incredible and easy-to-use service that encrypts all your internet traffic, meaning your online activities stay safe so you can shop, stream, browse, and conduct your banking online in complete privacy. But the benefits of Surfshark go way beyond keeping you safe online. It allows you access to your favorite entertainment and news shows and channels like streaming services, Hulu, iPlayer, HBO Max, Peacock. Or if your favorite show happens to be blocked or geo-blocked on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus, within seconds you can be watching just like you're in another country. If you're traveling for work or on holiday, you can also get all your favorite content from home, including sports. This is an insurance policy against creeping censorship in many countries. Watch anywhere, anytime. It is true freedom. And you know I'm all about freedom. A VPN can save you money too, because you know you can get the best deals from websites. Some websites actually change their prices depending on where you're buying from. So it's very helpful on that front too. And you can use Surfshark on unlimited devices, meaning your entire household can stay safe with just one subscription. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, there is a world of choice at your fingertips with 24/7 customer service if this happens to be your first time using a VPN. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken and you'll get an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. What's more, Surfshark's so confident that it is the best VPN in the world. It is. I use it wherever I am. You can give it a try for a full 30 days, and if you're not entirely satisfied, your money will be returned. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show. Breaking today, Naga Munchetty accused of being the bully of BBC Breakfast in an explosive front page expose in the Sun newspaper, which has a whole load of experts asking whether this BBC star is being protected because she's a woman. We're going to look in just one moment at some of Naga's most uncomfortable on-screen moments. But first, let me take you through the story. So the Sun reports that BBC star Naga Munchetty has been hauled in by bosses over allegations she bullied a junior staffer and made an off-air sex jibe. She also is said to have accused a junior staffer of stealing from her. They report Naga Munchetty reprimanded by bosses over 2 incidents in 3 years. The star was also hauled in over a sex jibe made on Radio 5 Live. Now, it comes, of course, as Breakfast editor, we spoke about this earlier in the week, Richard Frediani took leave amid separate bullying claims. Naga is said to have used a cruised slang term for a sex act during an off-air ad break before asking a colleague if they had done it. The alleged remarks stunned the Radio 5 Live studio and led to the star being hauled before bosses. She was reprimanded by a senior producer, but no formal action was taken. The comment became widely known at 5 Live, with one source describing the 2022 incident as crass, inappropriate, and wildly unprofessional. The person felt embarrassed. The Sun has also revealed today that on BBC Breakfast last year, she was rapped for the alleged bullying of a woman who was the most junior staffer. As part of the alleged bullying, the star is said to have falsely accused her of stealing, which led to a closed-door showdown. The source said it was humiliating. There was no evidence, no apology. The woman left not long after, completely demoralised. Another insider added, that wasn't an isolated incident. It really is the tip of the iceberg. Now, the background to this, according to The Sun, is that Munchetty is the first female presenter to be caught up in this series of scandals which have gripped the Beeb. Strictly's Giovanni Panice and Graziano Di Prima had to leave over bullying claims. Wyn Evans quit the live tour over the word spit roast, which can be a sexual reference, but the BBC is now facing questions of double standards. A Breakfast insider said if a male presenter made a sexual comment like that, or falsely accused someone of theft, he'd be out the door, but with Naga, it gets brushed off. And all a BBC spokesperson has said today, while we do not comment on individual cases, we take all complaints about conduct at work extremely seriously. Well, let me turn to my superstar panel now, June Slater and Leilani Dowding. Leilani, it's very clear they don't take it extremely seriously if you happen to be a protected species at the BBC. And who are the protected species? Someone who is a non-white female presenter. Because I'm sorry, if Naga Munchetty was a man and she had made that type of sex jibe, just like Wyn Evans did, it was just a joke, he was gone. He'll never work at the BBC again. He's suicidal over it, you know? But she's also bullying a junior member of staff, which I just think is the worst possible thing, Leilani. Now, look, I will stress, innocent until proven guilty. However, does it not look like there are serious double standards going on here?
Oh, without a doubt. It's serious double standards, and that's to be expected from the BBC. She's a minority. She's not white, and she's female. So, you know, it's how can they get rid of her? So, yeah, we got to look at the double standards. I'm so glad I don't actually know who she is because I don't watch the BBC and I don't pay for a TV license, and I never will. So I'm happy with that. But what I do think, though, is they do get really silly about like these like bullying things or a joke thing. And what I will say is, yes, there's double standards, but I don't think that those men should have been fired over a joke. You know, people make inappropriate jokes all the time. Back in the day, it used to be all right. I mean, you know, this was 3 years ago. Why is it suddenly appearing now? So I think, yeah, double standards at the BBC, but I just think all of it's nonsense. I'm just, you know, so sick of it. When it's serious things like Jimmy Savile and Hugh Edwards, then I expect serious action and proper headlines and for things not to be covered up. But, you know, all of this needs to be held and sorted out in-house, really.
I mean, June Slater, I do agree with Leilani that you shouldn't be sacked for a joke. But I mean, Lawrence Fox was. I was sacked for laughing at a joke, for God's sake. And it was the BBC that were leading the charge against us. It was the BBC who demanded we be removed from the airwaves. But when it's one of their own, when it's a mixed race female, they do not give a damn, June.
Well, I think it must be a dismal place to work for a start, because you must be walking on eggshells, wondering if you've got it right, and you can't have a joke about things. So I'm pretty liberal in the way I think, and I'm too old to even change into what would fit it. I'm unemployable, so it's probably just
join the club. We all are.
But I think her background, female, mixed race, she's ticking a few boxes there for the BBC. They're not going to do anything, are they? And
no.
Realistically,
but how can a woman like her be bullying a junior staff member, June, falsely accusing her of stealing? I mean, that's the lowest of the low. These guys, and remember, I worked in mainstream TV for a long time. Those junior staffers, June, they usually get paid between 18 to, say, £20,000 a year. Their job is to go and get your coffee, print out your scripts. You know, they are there on the ground doing everything they can to make your life easy. Why on earth would you bully a vulnerable person like that?
Yeah, they're vulnerable, aren't they? They're just starting out in their careers, hoping to make something of themselves in the media. And I'm sorry, but these people on news channels, the ego, I mean, who are you really? You know, what have you actually done? You're reading a script that probably you might have written or someone else has written. You're delivering a narrative. You're not even sourcing proper news. You're dealing with mostly vanilla topics. And you're not that special. That's the thing. And I've got to say, with channels like yours and Winston Marshall and quite a few other podcasters, we don't need you.
No.
You're in the terminal. It's the end of the line.
Totally.
You just can't see it yet.
Totally.
It's
the arrogance, exactly, the arrogance of thinking that you should have a huge phalanx of staff who's doing everything for you anyway. No, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Look, the thing about Naga Munchetty is it's hard to watch her on screen and not see the fact that she does have it in her personality in some way to be that slightly difficult character. I've got a couple of examples for us to look at. Do you remember? Do you remember the moment when Charlie State was left horrified when she went on an anti-ice cream rant, leaving the business reporter completely speechless?
I wish you were here now.
I don't like ice cream, Hannah.
You don't like ice cream,
No.
but you just said pistachio.
If I had to eat an ice cream for the rest of my life, it would be pistachio flavour, but I don't like cold food.
Do you like brownies?
Not so much. But, you know, we'll get to know each other, Hannah. And you'll find out a lot.
Look at Hannah's face.
Ice cream. You'll get more.
So tell me that I won't be bringing brownies into the office then.
No, everyone else does. Don't let me deny the rest of the office. Hannah, it's been great talking to you. I'm glad you're enjoying the ice cream. Certainly needed in this weather. Take care.
I'm having a great time, yeah.
Thanks. Hannah being sent. Imagine that. Oh, business correspondent. What's your job? I've got to be sent to an ice cream factory, and you actually like an ice cream parlour.
Do you think you rather brought the tone down there?
Oh, be quiet. Come on.
Well, but Hannah
I apologise.
It's working hard, doing the story, and then time now for a look at the headlines where you are this morning.
I mean, it's also fair to say there is no love lost. No love lost between Charlie State and Naga Munchetty. And is it surprising after moments like this?
You would hear the voice later, and can you look interested? I'll look this way. Which camera? So the interesting thing here is that one thing is, which is it, camera 3? What am I? What, 4? No, I wanted a single because I think we just need to remove. There we are. The interesting thing you'll be asking at home is, what is the effect of that on a conversation you might have on Mars? So the effect of that is, one, you wouldn't hear the voice. You wouldn't hear the voice as quickly. It would take a while to travel, and also it would be quite a bit quieter. So now you know. If you're having a conversation on Mars shortly, we know the official details on that.
I'm sweating.
It's nice when people pay attention, isn't it, what you're saying? It really is. Have you got a story?
And remember the time when she made Jerry Halliwell, or Jerry Horner now, ex-Spice Girl, or current Spice Girl actually, always Ginger Spice, feel really uncomfortable?
Because you've come in making sure you've done your research on us as well.
Well, I think it's polite.
Also
It is
pointing your
polite.
finger quite
And-
a lot, to be honest.
What do you...
That really, I'm so sorry, Charlie.
Do you not like being interviewed?
Do you know, I like communication. I don't mind.
Leave Jerry alone. Leilani Dowding, I would argue that the BBC Breakfast sofa is the unhappiest place in British television.
Oh, it's very uncomfortable, isn't it? Very uncomfortable. It's not very inviting. And you know what, Dan, I have to say, and going back to your point about what happened to you on GB News, yeah, absolutely. The BBC did lead the way on that. And I would have actually liked to see a letter from GB News, like what the Great British PAC wrote about you and the presenters, about how they would stick by you guys no matter what. It would have been nice to see that, because, you know, they didn't. And like you said, the mainstream really led the way on getting you lot down over just laughing at a simple joke. And really, I don't think it, as a woman, it was even that offensive at all. That there's plenty of men that wouldn't shag me, I tell you.
I don't know any of them, Leilani, I have to say, unless they happen to be gay. June Slater, what did you make of those uncomfortable moments? I mean, there's definitely tension, right, on that show. You can see it on the screen, which makes, I think, these reports much more valid.
You'll notice on the one where he asked for a single camera, her laughing got automatically louder. Did you notice that?
Oh,
She was
yes.
laughing, and then when he asked for a single camera, she got louder. So she still had some, it wasn't just a solace on him. I think she's very contrived. I think this where she looks like she's losing it or being a bit outrageous. I think it's contrived to try and make herself look a bit edgy. She's about as edgy as a cream cake. It's just not, there's no edge to her, is there? She's not exactly a pie crust. I'm sorry, but these people are so lame and dull. Dull is what they are. And they get guests on like Jerry Halliwell, who could bring, she's attractive, she's articulate, she's had an interesting life. And what's she trying to do? What is she trying to do? Dissy? She's looking to speak to people like that. You know, Jerry's done quite a few different things with charities. She's not just been a Spice Girl. And, you know, I just think that I think she's false. That's how she comes across to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've interviewed Jerry Halliwell numerous times, right? And she is a really lovely person to interview. Okay, like some celebrities are nightmares. Some celebrities are absolute nightmares. But to make Jerry Halliwell feel that uncomfortable, honestly, she's like the dream interview. And they didn't like the fact that she'd done a bit of research on them. That's actually quite a polite thing to do, I think, when the celebrity has actually looked into who you are, understands who you are. I don't just want to go on a show, on a podcast with someone who I don't know. So I just think that was all about trying to make Jerry Halliwell look small. And that is something, I hate to say it, that is something bullies do. That is something bullies do. I will say, though, Naga Munchetty has a very lovely husband who is a technical guy, but one of the big-time technical guys, and he worked at GB News for a very long time, was treated appallingly by GB News, and then went over to help set up. Do you remember when Talk became a big TV thing? It didn't last for long, but he did all of that. So he's a very nice guy. So I should just put on the record there. I like to be transparent that I do know Naga Munchetty's husband. I've only personally met Naga Munchetty once, but I do know her husband, and he is a very, very lovely man. And you two are very, very lovely women. Thank you so much. Love having you back. June Slater, Leilani Dowding. Leilani's been having a little operation on your sinuses. All okay, Leilani? I know people thought you'd had a nose job, right?
I know. It's like, I have no bruising, which actually shocked me. But no, it was to open up my sinuses. So it's the first time I've actually been able to sit here and do an interview without a runny nose, and it's been so lovely. I've not had to like bend down and
That's
blow
nice.
my nose
That's
into a
nice for
tissue,
June and
so-
I too. I'll say.
Yes.
No,
No,
so
it's
great to have you
it's
back.
good. I can breathe.
So great to have you back. And of course, you've got to follow Leilani Dowding on X and make sure you subscribe to June Slater. Must watch on YouTube and Facebook, and of course on X as well. Thank you both so much. Hope to speak very soon. Have an amazing weekend. I'm off to Prague actually this weekend to see a concert by my favourite Alanis Morissette. Very, very excited about it. Okay, we're about to reveal today's worst Britain. Well, it's not today's, it's this week's worst Britain in the world this week. This is where we take your nominees for Union Jackass, or your winners of Union Jackass. I'm not explaining this very well, am I? They go head to head in an ultimate poll to find the worst Britain in the world this week. And of course, on Tuesday this week, it was Jess Phillips. On Wednesday, it was Sheila Fogarty. On Thursday, it was Lorraine Kelly. So they are the nominations. We've got lots of comments from you. Joanna Kay wrote, Jess Phillips smirking in the House of Commons whilst the Home Secretary was reading the speech proved that she was just vile, despicable, and unforgivable. It was disgraceful. Birdlover7690 wrote, Jess Phillips, well, what can I say? She has dug herself the biggest sinkhole for her future in politics. She had already fallen in it. She is better to resign as she is not taking any criticism very well. From my understanding, she was once very good at her job, just the way things have gone for her. So lots on Jess Phillips, although Sargon Fur 1234 said Lorraine Kelly is the biggest phony, a tax dodging character played by an actor. And another one on Jess Phillips, which is good, from Gillian Burgess, saying, don't get me wrong, I think she has been despicable over these grooming gangs, but I wondered if her smile was meant to be ironic, as she claims to have put some measures in place. That was being suggested to her. I can't see why she would smile for any other reason. Well, look, do you want to know my honest take on it? I think Jess Phillips was just reading something else. She wasn't paying attention. She wasn't responding to what was being said. But that's completely inexcusable. You were the Minister for Child Safeguarding. You are in a debate in Parliament over the biggest scandal in British history. Don't read something else. Listen to what's being said. It was totally disrespectful. Okay, your votes are in. We've had over 30,000. Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. In third place, Sheila Fogarty with 9% of the vote. In second place, the runner-up with 13% of the vote, Lorraine Kelly. But, well, overwhelming. This week's worst Britain in the world this week, with 78% of your votes, it is Jess Phillips. That one wasn't a surprise to me, I have to be honest. Now, we're moving over to Substack now for the uncancelled after show with Angela Levin. Growing fears for Catherine, the Princess of Wales, after Kensington Palace was plunged into chaos and panic over her last-minute decision to pull out of Royal Ascot. So what is really going on? Well, Angela is our royal mastermind. She is here with the inside story. So we're going to come off YouTube and Rumble at this point, move to Substack to continue the conversation, www.outspoken.live. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, though. If you are in our great United Kingdom, enjoy this weather. We don't get this much. How ironic that I'm flying away for this weekend when it's finally turned sunny. But we will be back live Monday, 5 p.m. UK time, midday Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Please do hit subscribe. Join our thriving community of over 400,000 of you. And most importantly, I promise to keep fighting for you.